श्रुति, you can go ahead. अभी start कर सकते हैं हम.
Okay. So, a very good evening to everyone here, and thank you for joining us today on this occasion of International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. I welcome all our guest speakers and participants, and also extend special thanks to Max Maharashtra for being our live streaming partner. So we gather here today on this important day and discuss, one of the serious issues that we are facing worldwide. That is the growing levels of air pollution in the air we breathe. So this is a problem that we generally cannot see with the naked eye or even quantify very easily. But it's taking its toll on us clearly, which is reflected in the various health disorders that we are facing, especially the respiratory disorders and the growing cases of the same. So it gives us great pleasure today to host this important conversation with our expert panel of distinguished doctors, and we are really very eager to hear their thoughts. But before that, I would like to introduce our moderator for today's event, and she's none other than Ms. Rima Amrapurkar. So, Rima is an award-winning filmmaker, podcaster, and storyteller, and she is also senior media consultant for NGOs and communication lead for Pratham Infotech Foundation. So, I welcome you, Rima, and please invite you to take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shruti, for the warm welcome and the nice introduction to the topic and the day. Well, it's a great honor for me to be here and moderate a talk on a topic that is so crucial to all of us living beings, I would say. And pollution, as we may all know, is a very important issue that we cannot see, but it affects all of our lives. Sometimes we can see it also, I guess. There are various ways that we can tackle this, but it requires a lot of will and motivation amongst people, as well as the government agencies, the lawmaking bodies, everybody. But more importantly, what can we do as people? How can we protect ourselves? And so today in this conversation, that is going to be our main focus, about how we want to understand how pollution affects us and how we can take better care of ourselves to tackle the pollution and safeguard ourselves. And I am so honored to be on this platform with dignitaries in the field of medicine. Let me introduce them to you. First is Dr. Sanjeev Mehta. He is a specialist in chest, allergy, and sleep medicine. He's associated with the prestigious medical institutions of Lilavati Hospital and Arogyanidhi Hospitals in Mumbai. He's also the founder of LIFE, Lung India Foundation. He's the founding president of Maharashtra Chapter India Chest Society, and past chair, Council of Global Governors of CHEST, ACCP, American College of Chest Physicians. Dr. Mehta has been associated with Lilavati Hospital since 1992. He has an overall experience of 26 years, and he has trained people and also undergone training himself overseas, and he has spoken in countries like USA, Spain, Italy, Switzerland, Czech Republic, Latvia, Russia, Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia, South Africa. Oh God, my chest is just tired just saying all those names. So basically all the continents of the world. He is the recipient of Dr. C.V. Ramakrishnan Oration of Indian Chest Society and Vocational Excellence Award of the Rotary Club of Bombay West. Other than this, the most important thing for all of us is that he conducts free rural lung health camps in the rural parts of Maharashtra and other states, which are very important, and that is an awareness that people don't have. And more importantly, he conducts also free lung function camps for people who are the most exposed to air pollution, like taxi drivers, auto rickshaw drivers, and policemen. Welcome, sir. It's such a great honor to have you here.
Rima, thank you very much. What I want to know is, how did you get all that information? I had sent you one line.
So we have a very strong research team at Vatavaran. So that's why we have it, right? Our next guest, moving on, our next guest is Dr. Amita Attavale. She is a professor and she heads the Department of Pulmonary Medicine and Environmental Pollution Research Center at SET GS Medical College and KEM Hospital. She has over 2 decades of administrative experience as the head of the department and 30 years of teaching experience. She is committed to the development of her specialty and has keen interest in medical education. She has established Maharashtra's first super specialty course of Doctorate of Medicine in the subject of pulmonary medicine at SET GS Medical College from the year 2020. She has started specialty OPDs for severe asthma, pulmonary rehabilitation, sleep disorders, interventional pulmonology, and pre-operative risk assessment. This is especially important because, as we all know, that KEM is a very important hospital in Bombay where people who cannot afford costly private care opt for KEM, and having this at their disposal, a specialty OPD, has definitely helped a lot of patients. Also, she was a front runner and she was a clinical in charge in both the waves of the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic in 2020-21, the influenza pandemic of 2009, and the SARS outbreak in 2003. And now she has established a post-COVID care at the department. Now, what is even more prideful for women from all walks of life is she has been awarded the prestigious Eisenhower Fellowship Women's Leadership Program in 2010. That is 2010. It is an honor which is bestowed on select women leaders in the world, and Dr. Attavale's contribution has been recognized at the national and international level, including the Honorable National Green Tribunal and the US EPA. Professor Attavale is a dedicated physician, an ardent academician, an inclusive leader, and an able administrator. And more importantly, we are lucky to have her here because we all are wanting to learn. And since she has an experience in teaching, I'm sure she can break down really complicated things for us in very simple language. Welcome so much, Dr. Attavale.
Thank you.
Next guest is Dr. Aditi Shah. Dr. Aditi Shah is a practicing pediatrician in Mumbai for the last 13 years. She is attached to Nanavati Max Super Speciality Hospital and Surya Children's Hospital. She takes special interest in educating parents regarding nutrition, vaccination, and maintaining general well-being of children. Dr. Aditi, we are
Rima, I think you press the mute button.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so I'll introduce Dr. Aditi Shah again. Dr. Aditi Shah is a practicing pediatrician in Mumbai for the last 13 years. She is attached to Nanavati Max Super Speciality Hospital and Surya Children's Hospital. She takes special interest in educating parents regarding nutrition, vaccination, and maintaining general well-being of children. It is such an honor to have you, Dr. Aditi, and we are looking forward to understanding from you how we can protect our children from the air pollution and its effects on their small bodies and delicate bodies. Our next guest, Dr. Sharvari Rathod. She has completed her MBBS from JJ Group of Hospitals and diploma in chest and TB from Prince Ali Khan Hospital, Mumbai. She recently did her fellowship in allergy and immunology. She has worked as a frontliner in treating severe COVID patients during the pandemic in Seven Hills Hospital, Andheri. Currently, she is managing drug-resistant TB patients in Suri Hospital and is also attached to Jupiter Hospital, Thane. She also runs her chest and allergy clinic, Breathe Easy, in Chembur. Welcome so much, Dr. Sharvari.
Yeah, thank you, Rima ji, for having me here.
It is such a, like I said, I'm a non-medico for all those who joined later, but I'm going to try and steer this conversation, and please feel free to correct me if I have any goof ups in the process. So to start off with, the senior most panelist here, Dr. Sanjeev Mehta. Dr. Mehta, we all know that air pollution is on the rise, and we read about it in newspapers and all of that, right? But I would actually like to know and understand from you, all of us, in fact, that has the number of people suffering due to air pollution increased? And if you could put it into perspective from a pre-pandemic, pandemic, and post-pandemic scenarios, that would be really awesome. Dr. Mehta?
Hello. Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, I thought I lost.
Yes.
So, yeah, so I think I missed the last bit of the question, but I think what I understood is your question was whether pollution cases of pollution are on the rise. Is that is
right? The second part of the question was if you could put it in a perspective with regards to pre-pandemic, pandemic, and post-pandemic, periods, that would really be of great help to us.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for that very warm introduction. I'd also like to thank you, the team from Vatavaran and Max Maharashtra, for making this happen. This is an extremely important thing, and it's a pleasure to join this August gathering and to share a few thoughts on this. I think it's nobody's, contention that pollution is on the rise. I mean, clearly, pollution is a mess. Pollution-related problems have been on the rise, and we know that. And better than me would be Dr. Athavale, because she runs the pollution-related Maharashtra, Mumbai. And to give you numbers, I'll give you generalities, but Dr. Athavale will probably give you the numbers of the pollution levels and how many people get affected. All I can tell you is that I am seeing a lot of patients, and over the years, that incidence and that numbers is on the rise. And this is across the board. So one thing, just for the lay people, it has generally been believed that most patients who are exposed to pollution will develop airway-related problems. So what do I mean? And I know one of yours, I think Dr. Aditi, has got that asthma and allergy clinic. Well, allergies have been on the rise that affect the upper airway. They also affect the lower airway. What is very interesting, and that is where it gets, but upper airway, lower airways, you usually believe, I give an inhaler, I give a steroid, the patient will be okay. A few years ago, there was a very interesting group called the Interstitial Lung Disease Group from Jaipur. That had, and I know that one of our colleagues internationally, Dr. Ganesh Raghu, who has even looked at this, whether pollution is also related to some forms of interstitial lung disease. Then, if that gets proven, I know it was difficult to prove, but if that gets proven, then that is a completely non-reversible lung damage. That would be literally a nail in the coffin. Of course, we know that airways disease such as COPD is related to pollution, and that is again irreversible. But one can live with COPD. So clearly, huge problems in terms of discomfort, distress, hospitalization, exacerbations of asthma, COPD, all that is there. But if it gets worse than that, I mean, and permanent lung damage in COPD, but if it gets to ILD, I think that would be really a very important telling point. So clearly the numbers are there, everybody is suffering. These are internationally known. What I'd like to give you one or two numbers which will, I think, put things in perspective. One is that we looked at, so India did not track non-communicable diseases initially. But about 3-4 years ago, data came out from the group that looked at non-communicable diseases, which said that our number of patients of COPD are nearly 55 million. Now, to put that in perspective is, That is equal to the population of every human being in Australia and Canada put together. Imagine an entire Canada sick from COPD and an entire Australia sick from COPD together, approximately. That's where the numbers are. The only one that was giving some form of match to India was China. And last year, in terms of sickness, in terms of death, we were worse than China.
Okay.
So things are bad and they're getting worse. A very interesting thing about the pandemic is, and I would love to have the thoughts of my co-panelists here, my experience was, oh my God, here comes COVID. All my asthma COPDs are going to be in deep trouble. Guess what? They were all very well. None of them unless they really got COVID. And 1 year later, 2 years later, they've all started coming back for the follow-up. To me, there could not be a better real-life trial and test to show that.
Sir, you are on mute. You've gone on mute. Dr. Mehta, you need to unmute yourself. Unmuted. We can't hear you still. The team from Max Maharashtra, can you help us, please?
I think, okay, is that okay?
Yeah, now I can.
Right.
And,
I think somebody muted me. They didn't like what I said.
Okay.
So I'm just going to conclude with this. So I think there cannot be a more telling real life situation that pollution went down, patients got well, pollution came back. 2 years later, they started coming back. They were off medications. This is my experience. I don't have the wherewithal to collate the data, but I was, to me, it is stark. So with that, I think I hope I've answered some of your questions.
Oh, definitely you have. And I think, like you rightly pointed out, Dr. Athavale would be the correct person to walk us through if some figures or some data that you might have regarding, increase in the number of patients and air pollution. If there is a relation, that would be really great. You're on mute, Dr. Athavale. Please unmute, Dr. Athavale.
Yeah, I have unmuted. So the data which is there in the public domain is on our central pollution website also, which has a health advisory on air pollution, where they have given what is the DALY, that is the disease affected life years, how it has been in our country, which has been published in September 22. And if I have to tell you from KEM, what do we see? If we have to talk in terms of absolute numbers, yes, we do have an increase, but there one has to look at the population growth also. So if we have to look at the disease prevalence, if I have to quote an example, that for asthma, you need a genetic tendency maybe. The exacerbations would rise in case you are in a polluted environment. But per se, whether a person who does not have a tendency to develop asthma would develop asthma, the answer to that is no. So it is the host defenses, it is the host immunological makeup, which is important.
You're on mute, ma'am, again.
So, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
So, it is lungs being the internally situated organs which are most exposed to the external environment. Anything and everything happening in the environment affects us. So the prevalence of asthma, when it has been studied in city of Mumbai, we have studied in school children, where it was found that it is not more than 3 to 5%. So when I say 3 to 5%, do I mean that it is less? No, it is just that how much it is the value. But when you say 5% in Mumbai city, you can look at the numbers, because our basic population density has to be considered when we talk about the numbers. So that is about the statistics. Another important aspect is when we talk about statistics, it has to be for that particular study. Because again, if I have to give you an example, in that area, if the air quality is poor, for example, if you have a construction ongoing next door where there is dust flowing, you might have a higher prevalence. If I have to give you a longitudinal example for the city of Mumbai, we were a city of mills prior to 80s. And there mainly the dust was cotton dust. Whereas today, in the year 2020 to 23, it is mainly the construction dust. So the etiology or the causes of it have differed, and so is the disease picture. As Dr. Mehta pointed out, whether interstitial is responsible, or rather whether pollution is responsible for interstitial lung disease, let me put it, the biological contamination, which is with pigeon dust, pigeon droppings. If we accept that every nook and corner of the city is having a site where people prefer feeding pigeons, that is one area why I would like to bring this up is extrinsic allergic alveolitis in some can be a progressive condition, which is underlying interstitial lung disease, is completely preventable if we understand. And I suppose for clearer air, and the Vatavaran Foundation has aptly had this program, I think if we can have that one message that these preventable factors should be people's responsibility. We need not have debates on whether we need to feed the birds in the community in a thickly populated city. Would the birds come in a place where they do not have ready food? Probably not. So the disease which is related to pigeon droppings can be completely prevented if we understand how to take care. If we have the time, we would deliberate on this, but otherwise, that is in a nutshell, that there are biological factors, there are physical factors, and of course, we should not forget the importance of radiation, which is again in air. We don't call it pollution, it is not seen, but then ultimately for disease prevalence, that is also an important factor. We all are in Wi-Fi zones, we all are in facilities which have this constant electromagnetic radiation, and that also has its toll on the diseases that we have. Lastly, but not the least, another gas which is important is carbon monoxide, as it is ozone and the particulate matter. In particulates, you have the finer particulates which are again not seen, but differ from place to place. In a factory, they would be different. In a place where there is traffic congestion, they are different. And do we have the knowledge regarding it? Yes, there are centers like National Environmental Engineering Institute, IIT Mumbai, who are working on it. And now we can know what is it in that particular area. So the emission inventory, as well as the details of particulates can be studied and solutions can be brought out. So that much about the prevalence. When one says that there is an increase, one looks at the holistic picture of the population density also increasing when we look at the factual numbers.
Right. So we are getting requests. हमें requests आ रही है कि आप ये हिंदी में भी समझाइए. तो मैं थोड़ा सा सम अप करने की कोशिश करती हूँ जो डॉक्टर मेहता ने समझाया और आपने समझाया. तो डॉक्टर मेहता हमें बता रहे थे कि हाँ, जो एयर पोल्यूशन की वजह से जो लोगों को तकलीफ हो रही है अस्थमा की और ब्रोंकल इन्फेक्शंस की और डिसीजेस की, उसमें नंबर्स हैव इंक्रीज्ड, नंबर्स उसके बढ़ रहे हैं. जब पैंडेमिक आया था तब जो पेशेंट्स जिन्हें पैंडेमिक से पहले ये तकलीफ थी, उनकी ये तकलीफ बहुत ही कम या ना के बराबर हो चुकी थी. पर पैंडेमिक के बाद अभी 1-2 साल के बाद जैसे पोल्यूशन बढ़ते जा रहा है, वैसे ये नंबर फिर से बढ़ रहा है और लोगों को ये तकलीफ हो रही है. उसमें उन्होंने हमें ये भी बताया कि 55 मिलियन यानी 5.5 करोड़ लोगों को नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिसीजेस है जो कि एयर पोल्यूशन
सीओपीडी है. सिर्फ सीओपीडी ही 5.5 करोड़ है.
हाँ, so सिर्फ
डिजीजेस तो बहुत ज्यादा है, सिर्फ उसमें से सीओपीडी की मात्रा 5.5 करोड़. sorry,
5.5 करोड़ है, विच इज अ रियली बिग नंबर। मतलब उन्होंने हमें बताया कि पूरी कनाडा और पूरी ऑस्ट्रेलिया का पॉपुलेशन एक साथ कर लो तो उन्हें सीओपीडी है। सो इतना ज्यादा सीओपीडी हमारे देश में है आज की तारीख में। मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली उसके बाद डॉक्टर अमिता अठवले हमसे बात कर रही थी और उन्होंने हमें बताया कि अगर हम पकड़े कि 5% पॉपुलेशन को मुंबई में सीओपीडी है। एम आई राइट डॉक्टर अठवले? सो इसका मतलब अगर मुंबई की पॉपुलेशन हम पकड़े तो उसमें 5%, सो 100 लोगों में से 5 लोगों को ये तकलीफ है, तो इट्स अ वेरी वेरी बहुत ही बड़ा नंबर ये है। उसके अलावा एयर पोल्यूशन में जो मेन कॉजेज उन्होंने हमें बताया कि ट्रैफिक की वजह से जो पोल्यूशन होता है वो तो है, मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली कंस्ट्रक्शन की वजह से जो हवा में धूल मिट्टी उड़ती है वो है, पिजन ड्रॉपिंग है जो हम एक्चुअली डॉक्टर अमिता आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू कि ये जो पिजन और आईएलडी का अपना आपका जो डिस्कशन था, अगर आप वो हिंदी में हमें समझाए तो लोगों को वो बेहतर समझ में आएगा।
तो ये जो पंछी के वजह से, पिजन मतलब कबूतर के वजह से जो होता है, वो इसके लिए होता है कि कबूतर को एक फंगल इन्फेक्शन रहता है। अलग अलग तरह के जो फंगस है उसमें कबूतर को जब भी रहे तभी आदमी में इन्फेक्शन, ये जो एलर्जी के जैसा होता है, इसको एक्सट्रिंसिक एलर्जिक अल्वेओलाइटिस पहले कहते थे। तो ये रिस्पांस, अगर समझो हम 10 लोगों को की फैमिली एक जगह रह रही है, बाहर कबूतर है, तो घर में अगर सबको होता था तो पता चलता था कबूतर के वजह से है। बट इफ यू, अगर हम एलर्जी उसको अब हमको होती है तो हमको ही खाली उसका तकलीफ होगा, उसमें थोड़ा बुखार के जैसा लगेगा, दम शुरू हो जाएगा, ऑक्सीजन की लेवल ड्रॉप हो जाती है, ये उसके लक्षण है। तो ये लक्षण से बहुत समय हम अस्पताल जाते हैं, तभी टेस्ट किए जाते हैं। आजकल जो हाई रेजोल्यूशन सीटी स्कैन है उसके ऊपर इसका निदान जल्दी से हो जाता है और इसका अवेयरनेस भी काफी होने के वजह से निदान तो हो जाता है। लेकिन वापस आप वही एनवायरनमेंट में आ जाओ और उसको ही एक्सपोजर हो जाए तो वो कंडीशन क्रॉनिक होने लगती है। कौन सा भी बीमारी के लिए अपना जेनेटिक मेकअप क्या है उसके ऊपर तय होता है अपने को कौन सी बीमारी हो जाए। लेकिन अगर अभी जो कबूतर की बात की जाए तो ये पंछी, ये थिकली पॉपुलेटेड बम्बई सिटी में इतने संख्या में थे क्या? शायद नहीं। तो इतनी पॉपुलेशन क्यों बढ़ रही है? उनका अगर बायोलॉजिकल क्लॉक देखा जाए तो उनका रिप्रोडक्शन, वो बहुत बार ब्रीडिंग करते हैं बरस में, तो उनकी पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ती है। और रेडी उनको जिधर जिधर फूड मिलता है उधर उधर वो आके अपना ये बसा लेते हैं, फिर उड़ जाते हैं। जिनको उधर बैठना है वो कॉमन जगह है, अपनी खिड़कियां, उसकी जाली, उसके बालकनी में एयर कंडीशनर्स के ऊपर जो होते हैं उसमें एयर कंडीशनर्स के अंदर जाने की वजह से वो जो फंगल इन्फेक्शन मतलब फंगस जो रहती है वो उधर रह के जो पानी और इसका साइकिल चालू रहता है एयर कंडीशनर्स में, ह्यूमिडिटी मुंबई में काफी ज्यादा है, तो इसकी वजह से वो फंगस की ग्रोथ उधर होके इंडोर एयर में वो फैल जाता है और फिर उसका रूपांतर ये एक्सट्रिंसिक एलर्जिक अल्वेओलाइटिस की जैसी जो बीमारी है उसमें हो जाता है। तो इसके लिए ये समझ के पिजन्स को कंट्रोल करना, अगर हम उधर उनको दाना डाले ही नहीं तो वो आएंगे भी नहीं। याद है उनको पिजन्स का उपयोग खत भेजने के लिए किया जाता था, बिकॉज दे हैव अ मेमोरी स्पैन ऑफ 45 days. So if you feed them with a bitter substance, see, we don't want to be bad to animals, but neem is something which anybody would, it is not toxic to them. But if they have a coated food which is bitter, they may not return for another month, but you have to keep on repeating this solution. So these different types of solutions can be thought about by biology students, by our ecological people, okay, and ultimately we need to achieve a control so that human beings are not affected, because as Dr. Mehta said, this is a condition which does not reverse at times, it does not allow us to treat it, it goes on progressing, and hence we need to completely prevent it. If I could say that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So जिन्हें ये पता नहीं होगा उन्हें मैं ये बताना चाहूंगी, ये रीजन मैंने डॉक्टर अठवले को ये फिर से समझाने के लिए इसलिए भी कहा था कि ये जो ILD जिसे इंटरस्टेशियल लंग डिसीज कहा जाता है, वो मेरे पिताजी सदाशिव अमरापुरकर जो लोग जानते हैं उन्हें भी ILD ही हुआ था। और बिकॉज इन आवर सोसाइटी देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ पिजन्स, बर्ड नेट होते हुए भी हवा के थ्रू और वो इन्फेक्शन हुआ था, और वो व्हाइट लंग्स इतनी जल्दी हो गई थी दैट वी कुड नॉट ट्रीट इट। तो इसलिए ये मैंने फर्स्ट हैंड देखा हुआ है, और इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम सब लोग ये अवेयर हो कि हम हमें लगता है कि हम पंछियों को दाना दे रहे हैं, तो इट्स अ वेरी ह्यूमैनिटेरियन कॉज, बट ऐसा ना हो कि ये ह्यूमैनिटेरियन कॉज में हम कंट्रीब्यूट करें कि लोगों की तबीयत और हेल्थ के साथ हम खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं। So I think that's a very very important point. But डॉक्टर अठवले, मुझे ये पूछना है कि जब इस तरह का ये होता है ओवर एक्सपोजर ऑफ एयर पोल्यूशन, राइट, तो उसमें शॉर्ट टर्म प्रॉब्लम्स होती है और लॉन्ग टर्म होती है, जैसे ILD इज द लॉन्ग टर्म प्रॉब्लम एरिया। तो मुझे ये पूछना है कि ऐसे क्या सिम्टम्स है जिनकी तरफ हम ध्यान दें, ताकि जैसे ही वो सिम्टम्स हमें दिखाई देने लगे, we immediately approach a doctor and get a treatment for it.
राइट। सो कार्डिनल सिम्टम्स जिसको बोलते हैं, तो खांसी थोड़ा थोड़ा स्वरूप में आ जाए तो one can consult the family physician, and I think we have very good family physicians in Mumbai city, whom if they find clinical signs when they actually examine the patients, they always refer to the specialist. So बार बार आने वाली खांसी, लगने वाला दम, मतलब कभी कभी वो बैठे बैठे भी लगता है, कभी चलने पर, या तो ऑन एक्सर्शन. नाउ व्हेन आई से एक्सर्शन, फॉर एन एथलीट हु इज running about 5 kilometers a day, for him even that effort tolerance goes down, is breathlessness, whereas a person who's sedentary is getting short of breath on his activities is breathlessness. So the grade of breathlessness differs from person to person depending on what is their lifestyle. And any exertional breathlessness has to be attended to. Even this extrinsic allergic alveolitis like symptom comes with a little fever. So feeling feverish, feeling low, that is true for any viral illness also. So I would say anything different from your normal has to be attended early, because the importance of early diagnosis and treatment is immense. I think we have learned that in COVID, the maximum. Never take a paracetamol, never take a medication and go to work if you have felt ill. Get it attended, get it treated immediately. Stitch in time saves 9.
राइट, ये बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट बात है कि थोड़े भी हमें सिम्टम्स दिखे तो हमें इमीडिएटली ट्रीट करके ही आगे बढ़ना जरूरी है। कमिंग टू डॉक्टर अदिति, हाय डॉक्टर अदिति, आप इतनी देर से सुन रही है। हमें आपको ये पूछना है कि बच्चे जो है दे आर अ पार्ट ऑफ द वल्नरेबल पॉपुलेशन, राइट, तो जब बच्चों में अगर पोल्यूशन की वजह से उनकी हेल्थ और मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट पर कुछ परिणाम होते हैं, और अगर होते हैं तो क्या परिणाम होते हैं?
थैंक यू वेरी मच। सो जैसे मैडम ने और सर ने ऑलरेडी बताया है, बच्चों में वही सिम्टम्स ज्यादा होते हैं एयर पोल्यूशन से रिलेटेड. Respiratory system is maximally affected. There is high incidence of allergy, and by allergy I mean not only asthma, because that's where the numbers come into picture, what ma'am said, but we have so many unlabeled, so what we call hyperreactive airway diseases, which may not even have a genetic predisposition. जरूरी नहीं है कि उनके किसी एक पेरेंट को भी अस्थमा हो, पर बच्चे को इस तरह की एलर्जीज होती है एयर पोल्यूशन की वजह से. अभी ये जो डैमेज है, जो लंग है बच्चों का, तो उनके अंदर बहुत सारा सिक्रीशंस होता है. हमारे इम्यूनिटी सेल्स आके उस लंग के अंदर सिक्रीशंस बनाते हैं और एयरवेज को नैरो करते हैं, तो वो सिक्रीशंस अंदर जमा हो जाते हैं. अभी ये जो इंजर्ड लंग है, उसके अंदर कोई भी वायरस बैक्टीरिया जो हवा में हो, वो अंदर आके वो बैक्टीरिया के लिए इट्स लाइक अ वेकेशन, वो छुट्टी पे आ गया है. उसे जो चाहिए सब वो लंग के अंदर मिल जाता है, वायरस को सब मिल जाता है, वो उधर ही रहने को पसंद करते हैं. इट बिकम्स लाइक अ वेकेशन फॉर देम. So for this lung, the incidence of infections is definitely higher. We have seen even COVID was slightly could produce slightly worse symptoms in children or adults who are already having a pre-existing lung issue. In these children, when they get infections and allergies together, they get fever, they get cough, cold, they have a runny nose. तो ये जो सिम्टम्स है वो पेरेंट्स को बहुत अच्छी तरह से ध्यान में रखने होते हैं. बहुत बार बच्चा खुद कंप्लेन नहीं कर सकता कि उसे शॉर्टनेस ऑफ ब्रेथ हो रही है, पर ये पेरेंट्स को ध्यान में रखना जरूरी है. अभी इस सब की वजह से नेचुरली बच्चे का स्लीप पैटर्न अफेक्ट होता है. वो रात को अच्छे से सो नहीं पाता, बहुत क्रैंकी रहता है. उसके वजह से वो डे टाइम में ज्यादा स्लीपी रहने के चांसेस है. उसका अटेंशन इस डे टाइम स्लीपीनेस की वजह से अफेक्ट होता है. सो व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कॉग्निशन, इट इज नॉट जस्ट अबाउट योर हाउ क्लेवर यू आर, बट इट इज मोर रिलेटेड टू आर यू एबल टू फोकस इन योर क्लास. तो बच्चा ऑलरेडी बीमार हो, रात में सो ना पा रहा हो, अच्छे से खाना ना खा पा रहा हो, नेचुरली स्कूल में जाके वो सोते रहा और अगर उसने अटेंशन देने की कोशिश की तो भी वो अटेंशन नहीं दे पाया, तो उसका फोकस अफेक्ट होने वाला है, उसकी मेमोरी अफेक्ट होने वाली है. सो इट्स नॉट जस्ट कॉग्निशन, बट वी आल्सो सी चेंजेस इन बिहेवियर, so which is again a brain related issue in children. So they can become very hyperactive and irritated, and many parents come just with this complaint sometimes कि अभी जस्ट वो सर्दी खांसी से ठीक हुआ है, पर एक वीक से हम देख रहे हैं कि वो बिल्कुल भी शांत नहीं रह रहा, बहुत रो रहा है, खाना नहीं खा रहा. So all these things definitely affect your mind, your brain, your cognition. It definitely affects how many days you miss going to school. So ये सारी चीजें पीडियाट्रिक्स में ऑफ कोर्स ज्यादा जरूरी है देखना, क्योंकि जब बच्चा स्कूल नहीं जाता तो कितनी सारी चीजें मिस करता है. सिर्फ पढ़ाई नहीं, पर अपने एज के बच्चों के साथ जो इंटरेक्शन होता है, जो एक तरह का खेल या प्ले होता है, तो ये सारी चीजें बच्चे की अफेक्ट होती है. Another thing I would like to put forth here is when we are talking about air pollution, we should also remember slightly long term but very important problem related to air pollution is global warming. We see a lot of heat related problems in children. We know Bombay is only hot and hotter, and Delhi might get a little colder, but Bombay is only hot and hotter. And during the season, during summer, especially in May or even April, we see children coming with heat-related illnesses. So they vomit, they have fevers, they get dehydrated. Sometimes they need to get hospitalized as well. So I would consider this also as a side effect of air pollution in these children.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. That's really interesting, and especially I'm sure audience में जो parents है वो ये experience भी करते होंगे. But ये बहुत ही अच्छा है that ये जो आपने बात बताई कि बच्चे express नहीं कर पाते, इसलिए हमें ये ध्यान देना है कि उन्हें क्या तकलीफ हो रही है, and we need to be careful about you. डॉक्टर शर्वरी, अभी डॉक्टर मेहता और डॉक्टर अठवले ने बताया कि लॉन्ग टर्म डिसीजेस होते हैं. अगर इन्फेक्शन हो तो वो लॉन्ग टर्म बढ़ता जाता है एलर्जी की वजह से, और आप एलर्जी में और ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस ट्यूबरकुलोसिस में अभी आप काम कर रही है. सो आई वुड लाइक टू नो फ्रॉम यू कि टीबी जो पहले हुआ करता था, अभी ये ड्रग रेजिस्टेंट टीबी आ गया है नया, तो ये एयर पोल्यूशन का इसमें कितना कंट्रीब्यूशन है, और ये लॉन्ग टर्म रहता है ये या इज देयर एनीथिंग वी कैन डू अबाउट इट?
So first of all, I would like to thank the entire Vatavaran for having me as a speaker here, especially along with such a senior and eminent panelist. So to shed some light on this topic, air pollution, I think, is a very global problem, and it is a silent pandemic. The next pandemic that we are going to face after COVID is pollution. And about 6.5 million people die due to air pollution every year. So it is very important to know about the toxic effects of these noxious air pollutants on our health, especially the respiratory health. Now, to talk about pollution, I would like to give some introduction. We have to know that pollution is not only outdoor. वो सिर्फ बाहर के vehicular emission से majorly होता है, ऐसा नहीं है. There are a lot of indoor pollutants also. So people really miss this fact कि pollution सिर्फ शायद vehicle से होता है या industry के emission से होता है. So we need to know कि major pollution is contributed outside, and there are a lot of indoor pollutants also. तो घर में हम mosquito coils या अगरबत्ती, धूप, incense sticks ये जो जलाते हैं, there is a study by Indian doctor, Dr. Sandeep Salvi sir, who has said that a mosquito coil that burns for around 4 to 5 hours is equivalent to 100 cigarette smoke. So
Wow.
that smoke is very noxious. It can cause acute lung injury, and eventually it can cause chronic lung diseases, and it also affect other vital organs of the body. So coming to your question regarding allergies and tuberculosis, now what happens is we need to know the common allergens जो हमारे घर में होते हैं और जो बाहर होते हैं. So the common allergens are house dust mite, the pets that we have at home, cats and dogs, especially cat dander. That is also a very common allergen. There are cockroaches. Cockroach antigen is a common allergen. So people who are sensitive, whose lungs are immunocompromised, or who have a predisposed lung or a heart or a kidney condition, they suffer from these allergies. Now, contributing to this, the global problem of air pollution and having the toxins in the air, especially sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, the particulate matter, as ma'am had rightly pointed out, these, along with these allergens, these allergens kind of piggyback on these toxins and they enter our lungs. So, जो patients को TB होता है, उनमें already उनका lung function compromised होता है. It is an airway and a parenchymal disease, जो lung के tissue को affect करता है, destroy कर देता है completely. तो ऐसे patients में जब air pollution का effect होता है, they get lot more breathing difficulty, सांस लेने में उनकी दिक्कत और ज़्यादा बढ़ जाती है, उनकी खांसी और progress हो सकती है. They get a lot of cough, which is already a predominant symptom of tuberculosis disease. So these symptoms which are already present, they aggravate, or I would say they are more triggered because of the air pollution side effects. And the allergies, as I told you, ये allergies भी ज़्यादा trigger होती है due to the air pollution effect. So yeah.
Right. So, do you have any particular numbers in probably a research जो आपने पढ़ा होगा कि tuberculosis पर किस तरह से इसका और परिणाम होता है? Because tuberculosis, please correct me if I'm wrong, is an infection, is a kind of an infection, right?
Yes.
So if that patient is exposed to more pollution, is there any numbers that you can share with us?
I'm not so sure of any particular data regarding direct effect of air pollution on tuberculosis, but the patients that we encounter, especially in Mumbai city. Now, I work in a government TB hospital, so
Right.
patients already who are drug-resistant TB, they are already having a lot of breathing issues. Normally, जो हमने कोविड में देखा होगा, जो हम पल्स ऑक्सीमीटर पे जो ऑक्सीजन नापते हैं, तो ऐसे पेशेंट्स में ऑलरेडी ऑक्सीजन लेवल्स कम होते हैं. दे आर बिलो 90% at certain times, and they reside in metro cities like Mumbai or highly polluted cities. So we see कि उनके symptoms में और ज़्यादा increase होता है जो normally वो symptoms face करते हैं. So sometimes we have to increase their inhaler dose. Normally हम ऐसे patients को inhalers देते हैं for their breathing issues. So we sometimes have to increase their inhaler dose. We have to tell them to continuously wear a mask and avoid the triggers, because the major thing that we can do is to avoid the pollution or avoid the trigger.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, avoiding triggers, ये तो अभी pandemic की वजह से हम सबको पता है कि wear a mask, wash your hands, keep yourself away from other people who have infections. But Dr. Amita, I would like to come to you कि ये जो particulate matter PM 2.5 and PM1 ये जो होते हैं ऐसा लग रहा है या लोगों को ऐसा डर लगता है कि they can mix in your bloodstream.
Yes.
Right? So can you elaborate on that कि ये actually होता है, pollution mix होता है अपने खून में?
Yes. जितना पार्टिकल का साइज छोटा हो उतना उसका पेनिट्रेशन ज्यादा डीप हो सकता है. सो लंग्स में जो वायु कोश रहते हैं, अल्वियोलाई जिसको कहते हैं, उससे डिफ्यूजन ये क्रिया से वो अंदर चले जाते हैं. तो डिफ्यूजन के साथ साथ जो 1 माइक्रोन वाले या तो उससे भी छोटे रहेंगे, वो डिफ्यूज होके ब्लड स्ट्रीम में भी चले जाते हैं. So there have been studies where they have said that there can be a drop in hemoglobin concentration. So
Right.
if the mothers are already anemic, the children again are going to be affected. That I think Aditi would tell us more about it. But there have been studies regarding hematological, even malignancies. Though if you ask me at KM, have we studied leukemia and pollution? We haven't, but we have read it in the journals that this is a possibility. The reasoning for it could be that it is ultimately going to affect our mechanism of cellular level inflammation, and that is how it happens. आपने जो TB के बारे में पूछा, तो indoor source of pollution, as Sharvari mentioned, is smoking, and a number of them are smokers. So those who are smokers and develop TB, they have a source, and smoking cessation, though said, is at times difficult to practice for some people, and that's why the healing process gets delayed. They have a comorbid condition like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, then also the healing is delayed.
Right.
So bloodstream diffusion is possible. Another very important source in pollution is again carbon monoxide, which is
Right.
more than 200 times more diffusible than oxygen. And if you are in a setup where especially traffic related pollution, or in houses, indoor source, if I have to mention, it is the gas geyser. If somebody is using a gas geyser and does not have the room ventilated, people have had syncopal attacks also. So it is important to know these sources, and they are definitely diffusible. To answer to that is yes, it is possible that they are mixed in blood.
Correct, correct. So they are diffusible, but I suppose it will take a collective action to actually diffuse these effects. But yeah, coming to Dr. Mehta, मुझे ये पूछना है कि lungs get affected, okay, and lungs become weaker due to air pollution. So how does this affect other cardiovascular functions of the body? If you could just थोड़ा उस पे अगर आप elaborate कर पाए तो that will be really helpful.
थैंक यू रीमा. मैं इसके बारे में थोड़ा 1 मिनट, हमारा टाइम 7 बजे तक था, 7 में 5 मिनट कम है क्या अभी हम?
I think because हमने शुरू around 6:10 बजे तक किया तो we can go a little ahead, right?
तो आई थिंक मैं 1-2 चीजें थोड़ी विस्तारित रूप से कहना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है एंड जो डिस्कशन भी हो रही है. आई थिंक एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट थ्रेड जो बन रहा है इज, क्या पोल्यूशन सिर्फ लंग्स को असर करता है, क्या लंग्स से आगे भी जाता है? मैं उसके बारे में बात करूंगा. पहली यस, जो अभी आप और डॉक्टर अठावले बात कर रहे थे कि डिफ्यूज हो जाता है, and there have been reports that pollution is related to cancers. I'm not, there was a report एक पहले भी आया था about pollution being related to dementia, means effect on the brain. Now ये सारी reports आती रहेंगी, but we will know that not all of them will be substantiated by research. मतलब आती हैं reports, report होना और report को prove करना विद रिसर्च दो अलग चीजें हैं, बट ये होता ही है. अब दूसरी बात रही, ये जो इफेक्ट्स हैं ये कितने लॉन्ग टर्म है. वन इज इमीडिएट, इमीडिएट मींस आपको अस्थमा अटैक हो गया. वन इज लॉन्ग टर्म, आपको सीओपीडी हो गया. थर्ड लॉन्ग टर्म इज यू हैव इफेक्ट ऑन अदर ऑर्गन्स एंड देन यू हैव कैंसर. बट वन लॉन्ग टर्म इफेक्ट दैट हैज नाउ बीन एक्सेप्टेड लास्ट 2 years से, जो सीओपीडी जिसको कहते थे स्मोकिंग रिलेटेड डिसऑर्डर, इज वन आउट ऑफ द 6 causes is childhood exposure to noxious pollutants and long term. So now it is part of the definition of COPD, showing that early exposure is now being accepted by the world body to be, early exposure to pollution is now accepted by the world body as a long-term risk factor. Now you imagine a 5-year-old child getting exposed to this. and then becoming COPD for the next 75 years. Now, this is a huge burden on society. Let me go a step further back. We all know, और हम सबको पता है कि जिस माओं को, जो माएं सिगरेट पीती हैं, उनके बच्चों को इन यूट्रो डैमेज होता है लंग्स को. अब यही मदर्स को अगर हेवी लेवल ऑफ पोल्यूशन है, तो आप सोचिए उनके बच्चों को क्या होगा और किस स्केल पे ये हो रहा है. चलो सिगरेट तो 2 पिएंगी 100 में से, बट पोल्यूशन का आप क्या कीजिएगा. मेरे पास एटलीस्ट 10 फैमिलीज हैं, दिल्ली में रहती हैं, जो वहां से छोड़ के गोवा चले गई फॉर डिलीवरी. एंड आई डोंट नो दैट आई डिसएग्री विद देम. मेरे को तो लगता है वो बिल्कुल सही करती हैं. सो पोल्यूशन अभी की प्रॉब्लम है, उसका अभी असर होता है, उसका असर पूरे शरीर पे होता है, वो लॉन्ग टर्म होता है, वो गर्भ में भी होता है, और वो हमेशा के लिए उसका डैमेज हो सकता है. सो आई थिंक इट इज नो क्वेश्चन दैट पोल्यूशन इज एन एग्जिस्टेंशियल थ्रेट. I don't know if I'm going to get the second question, but I'm going to quickly ask you to see a book, The Day the Earth Stopped Breathing or Held Its Breath, which is a very important 1-hour documentary, जिसमें बताया है कि पोल्यूशन के वो कोविड जिस दिन जब लॉकडाउन हुआ न्यूयॉर्क, और उसके बाद वर्ल्ड के ऊपर पोल्यूशन हटने का क्या अच्छा असर हुआ कि हमारे सबके शरीरों पे. इट्स अ वेरी नाइस 1 घंटे की डॉक्यूमेंट्री.
Sure.
So
sure.
I think I'm seeing some comments on what we can do. If we get time, I'll be very happy to discuss that.
Yeah, so we'll come to that. I would actually अभी immediately go to Dr. Aditi कि अभी जो डॉक्टर अठावले ने भी बताया कि ये ब्लड में pollutants can get mixed, right? Similarly, Dr. Mehta spoke about childhood exposure to pollution and its effects. So could you elaborate on these two things, that how can we prevent our children from the damages of these, because pollution तो हम control नहीं कर सकते, but अपने बच्चों को किस तरह से इससे बचा पाए.
I agree with you. So many things are not in our control over here. Imagine if a baby who's still in the mother's womb is getting affected. उसका preterm deliveries होने का chance है, और low birth weight. इसको हम किस तरह से कंट्रोल कर सकते. प्लस हम जानते हैं कि बच्चे का लंग्स अभी डेवलप हो रहा है, उसकी इम्यून सिस्टम अभी डेवलप हो रही है, उसकी जो लिवर और एक्सक्रीटरी सिस्टम है जो खराब पोल्यूटेंट्स को बॉडी में से निकालती है, वो भी अभी पूरी डेवलप नहीं हुई. उस बच्चे में अगर ये टॉक्सिक केमिकल्स और मॉलिक्यूल्स और जो खराब सब्सटेंसेस है वो जमा होते गए, तो इट्स गोइंग टू कॉज अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स ऑब्वियसली. Unfortunately, outdoor pollution is not in every person's hand, and that requires levels at the state or at the center. But what we can control definitely is the indoor pollution, which Dr. Chaudhary also mentioned. कि घर के अंदर जो बच्चे को pollution से exposure हो रहा है, at least वो हमारे हाथ में definitely है. I make it a point that I sit with a parent who has a child having repeated cough colds and explain to them about this. And I'm happy I'm able to tell over here. तो सबसे पहले तो जब बच्चा पैदा होता है, उसको मालिश मसाज करने के टाइम से ही हम उसको पोल्यूशन से एक्सपोज करते हैं. धूरी, you must have heard about. So I'm from Guhagar, and I know that there are so many old ajis who are malish walis also here in Bombay. They stress on the fact that this dhuri needs to be given to the child. There is actually smoke produced with hing and whatnot, and the child is held on top. I wonder, even the idea of this, I get scared. How the parents allow this to be done to them right from day one of life. So I start from there, that this is something you should not be doing. Of course, there are a lot of pollutants inside, such as parents, any one of the parents smoking, which should be avoided. Things like agarbatti, as simple as kachua chap, so something which is a mosquito repellent. We put it every single day. Nowadays, malaria, dengue, we are so scared of them. We are putting two mosquito coils in our house, inside, outside, everywhere. How much air pollution is that causing?
I just want to ask you here, it's a very simple doubt that I have. So these electronic all out and all that we get repellents, those also have the same effect?
So they have very strong smell, and
Yeah.
concentrated, very strong smell in one room is definitely a trigger for patients who have known allergies or those who react to pollutants. So smell and smoke are most important. Very commonly in our house during this season, during the rains, we find humidity and colors coming out. So we find molds over there. We don't realize, but such a simple thing, just scrape that molds off and it takes care of a lot of allergies in children. Of course, like ma'am already mentioned, cleaning the AC ducts and everything is very important because we are exposing our children indoor to a lot of pollution, which can be controlled very, very easily. The thing is that these children nowadays, slightly older ones, have almost become sedentary like us. वो एक ही जगह पे बैठ के, जैसे हम उठते ही नहीं है अपने चेयर पे से, वो भी एक ही जगह पे बैठ के मोबाइल पे और टीवी पे लगे रहते हैं. Hardly any physical activity, and we know how important activity is for development of your lungs and your heart and overall your immunity and good health. Now these children have hardly exercised, unfortunately, and never had a good blood supply developing to their heart and to their lungs. So they also become very easily exposed to these indoor allergens. And even if they have never had any allergic reactions before, they may start developing things which can cause allergies. Simple things like rhinitis, nose blocks, even skin-related allergies, eye-related allergies, allergic conjunctivitis. So I always encourage them to have good physical activity. If there is very high AQI, you can't go out, no problem. Have some form of indoor physical activity, some form of pattern, yoga, jumping, skipping. So many things can be done indoors as well. It's very important that parents give proper vaccination. टाइम पे जो टीके लगते हैं वो बच्चे को देने जरूरी है. इन टीकों में बहुत से टीके हैं जो खराब लंग रिलेटेड बीमारियों से बच्चों को प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हैं. वो वैक्सीन हमने देखे कि कोविड के टाइम बहुत पेरेंट्स घर पे ही रहे. Somehow they decided not to take their children out and give the vaccines, and we saw a rapid increase in rise of a very easily preventable preventable disease like measles. Of course, that is not related to air pollution, but like that, the other diseases can also increase if these vaccines are not given on time. Most important is nutrition and hydration. So हम हमेशा ये बात, of course, as a doctor, it's very easy to say. As a parent, it may not be very easy to follow, but it's very important that we maintain adequate, proper nutrition. There is no need to fall to fads where you can give so many multivitamins you see on Facebook and you get WhatsApp messages and give one multivitamin after the other. It's, I don't think, required unless the situation demands that the child actually has a deficiency. अगर आप अच्छे से बच्चे को खाना खिला सके, उसकी इम्यूनिटी ग्रोथ ऑटोमेटिकली बेटर होगी और वो जो खराब रेस्पिरेटरी इन्फेक्शन है उससे अपने आप को प्रोटेक्ट कर सकेगा, इवन इफ ही गेट्स एक्सपोज्ड टू दीज इन्फेक्शंस. So all these things are
Also, मुझे ये पूछना था कि जो अभी fall season है, like in US, it is a regular practice to take a flu vaccine, flu shot during the fall season towards the end of the summer. So अगर मुंबई में हम रह रहे हैं तो flu vaccine या flu shot effective हो सकता है बच्चों के लिए?
So flu is highest in incidence during the monsoons, but I don't think it is not there in the other. I mean, flu is annual. 12 months of the year you can get flu. But Government of India recommendations for vaccination in children recommends that you should take at least in the first 5 years of life, after the child is 6 months old, a flu vaccine every year. And after 5 years, जिन बच्चों को ऑलरेडी प्री एग्जिस्टिंग कोई प्रॉब्लम्स रिलेटेड टू लंग्स है या फिर कोई अदर कोई बाकी बीमारियां है, तो वो भी हर साल फ्लू वैक्सीन एनुअल फ्लू शॉट के हिसाब से प्रेफरेबली बिफोर द मॉनसून्स ले, तो डेफिनेटली वो अपने बच्चे को फ्लू से प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हैं और उस वजह से होने वाले जो एलर्जीज है और कॉफ कोल्ड्स सिम्टम्स है उससे प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हैं.
Right. So Dr. Mehta, you wanted to say something?
No, just give me the concluding remark whenever you're ready.
Okay, fine. I'm going to Dr. Sharvari now. कि अभी winter is around the corner. Actually, in Bombay में तो हम कह नहीं सकते कि winter है नहीं है, but usually जब winters आते हैं तो infections और allergies बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ती है. So how would you suggest that we protect ourselves? या हम किस तरह से खुद को संभाल के रखें infections से, especially winter related जो infections इन्फेक्शंस और एलर्जीज होती है उससे?
So winter season में allergies are quite common, especially allergy जो common allergens हम देखते हैं, it is due to pets, due to some fungal spores जो अपने हवा में रहते हैं, due to dust mites, तो घर में भी house dust होती है, that is a very common allergen. And at the same time, ये जो air pollutants है, जो toxic air pollutants है, they are also quite common in the cold weather. तो आपने जैसे दिल्ली में देखा होगा the smog concept. So what is smog exactly? It is a secondary pollutant. जो हमारे प्राइमरी pollutants होते हैं, जैसे मैडम ने बोला particulate matter, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, all these interact with the ambient air and form a secondary pollutant. And in the cold air or stagnant air, they form smog. तो ऐसे कंडीशन में along with the common allergens that we have, house dust mites, ये दोनों एक दूसरे के साथ interact करते हैं and we unknowingly inhale these toxic substances in our lungs, and we even ingest them sometimes along with the food that is available outside. So what you can do is, people who are more susceptible to allergies, they can first and foremost, that we know in COVID, we can use a mask. अभी मास्क कौन सा यूज करना चाहिए, ये बहुत कॉमन क्वेश्चन होता है लोगों को. सो अ मास्क दैट हैज अ गुड एफिशिएंसी, N95, N99, N100, जितना नंबर बढ़ता है उतना ज्यादा वो इफेक्टिव होता है अगेंस्ट द फाइनर पार्टिकल्स. सो सच मास्क्स आर गुड. सेकेंडली, अ प्रॉपर फिटिंग मास्क इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज अगर वो मास्क लूज है तो तुम्हें वो फिल्टर्ड एयर नहीं मिलने वाली. So a proper fitting mask is the second important thing. Second, patients who are known patients of asthma or COPD, एक reliever medication जो हम बोलते हैं inhaler का, they should be ready with that, or they should consult their physician for the same if they have increased symptoms of breathing difficulties, shortness of breath, or regular dry cough or anything like that. Thirdly, I would say Aditi madam has covered a lot of important key points, what we can prevent. Similarly, we can do the same thing in adults. And like smoking, I think if you want to prevent pollution, it has to be on an individual level first, then the society, then the national level, and then comes the global level. At an individual level, if you are an active smoker, so he or she should try to quit smoking, because studies have said that an active smoker will ingest only 30% of the harmful noxious substances that emits out of a cigarette, but the 70% goes to the colleagues, the people who are surrounding that person. And there is a concept called third hand smoke. Smoking के बाद ये जो particulate matter है, ये हमारे surfaces पे जमा रह जाता है for around days to months. And what happens is, people who come in contact with those surfaces, they inhale those particulate matter, and they can get triggered if the patient is allergic, or eventually chronic respiratory diseases can happen in such patients. So that is one thing, you can quit smoking. Fourth thing, you can have a very healthy lifestyle. You should do some things to have a good lung capacity. Now, how to improve your lung capacity is, you can do some yoga or pranayam exercises, which we know they can really improve your lung capacity. Fourth thing, everybody I think should have the AQI app on their mobiles, the air quality index, because that gives you a rough idea what is the air quality of your city or of your area on that particular day. Now, there are various indices in the AQI. If it goes above 100, it is an unsatisfactory level of air quality. And if it goes above 300, it is very bad. So what happens is, you can download that app in your iOS or your Android phone. You can look at the air quality on that day. If you are a person who is prone to allergies, or if you're an asthmatic patient and the air quality index is above 100, you can minimize your exertional activities, or you can keep your reliever pump along with you. So it is a very important thing that we can do to prevent these harmful things. Indoor air pollutants, as ma'am rightly said, we can avoid at our own individual level. So yeah, these are the things you can really, vaccinations are very important. Flu vaccinations, pneumococcal vaccinations, they can help prevent all these secondary infections that we get.
Okay.
So yeah, that is one.
Right. So now we come to our concluding remarks. Actually, I'll start with you, Dr. Sharvari. If you were to give us a guideline in 2 sentences, what would that be?
Okay. So I think, as I said before, it starts at an individual level. As doctors, what we can do is we can educate our patients about these harmful effects of air pollution. And a lot of awareness has to be done because people are really not aware that people can have problems due to pollution. So that
Right.
has to be done. So I think awareness and implementing the solutions has to be done on an individual level, then it will happen on a global level also.
Great. We move on to Dr. Aditi. What would be your concluding
Um,
remarks?
Whenever I'm looking at a child, I feel there are so many things the child can't say. So my concluding remarks will be the parents have to be aware of what problems can happen because of air pollution and remember the red flags, not to sit on those problems at home. Whenever they see any issue which is alarming or which sounds like an looks like an emergency, it can be as simple as excessive crying, which is also known to happen in children who have cough in their chest who are not able to breathe. So,
Right.
excessive crying, excessive coughing, shortness of breath, very high, persistently high fevers, regularly happening skin rashes and allergies. These are all the signs and symptoms, even eye related, where the parents have to see that their child is having this, know that it is related to some problem and go to the doctor immediately who can assess the issue and treat it on time before it becomes out of control.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aditi. Dr. Amita, over to you. What would you like to tell us in your final remarks?
Yes, I think progress and pollution are sides of the two coin. And while
Right.
we progress, if we learn the preventive best practices, we would minimize the problem. And here, see, long ago we were not used to taking packaged water, but water we can boil. Air you cannot. So only filters whenever possible and ventilation in indoors is something which is to be understood, and cross ventilation is a very easy way to minimize the effects immediately. And the importance of having open windows, doors being opened whenever required, and the ventilation being protected and checked in every house, may it be a squatter settlement, maybe it is a high rise, but understanding that. And for this, we will be shortly putting on our KM website, on our departmental website, a full book on indoor air quality. In Mumbai, humidity being a problem, dehumidification at times using a dehumidifier is also useful to reduce fungus. So specific measures for specific places and people is something which is to minimize the effects of air pollution. Health education has its own role to play. And
Right.
again, for Mumbai city, we have requested for a lung health institute, which would soon come up, where we would have everything on a common platform to find innovative solutions also. We need innovations now for practical problems to be tackled with the current lifestyle. So that's
Yeah,
something which is
look forward to something like that coming up in Mumbai. We so need it desperately. And now, thank you, Dr. Amita. Now, moving on finally to our uh, final panelist, Dr. Sanjeev Mehta. Your words of advice, sir.
Thank you very much. I first of all, congratulations, Rima. It's been a very good program, and I'm really impressed to be with such wonderful faculty. I think they've covered it very well. My concluding remarks would really summarize what Dr. Rathod said about, dealing with this at an individual level, and then at a family level, then at a societal level. But I really want to point two things which uh, an old man like me can only do, and and it's time to cut through the soft talk. It's like every
Right.
Hindi movie. In the end, hero and heroine get together, kiss, and everything is happy ever after. Ain't happening. Let me wake you all up. Ain't happening. You can do what you want to do. You can stop that cigarette smoking, or no, it ain't happening. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to people like you, like Bhagwan, probably Saran. You got to get there and make it the mission of your life, because your children depend on it, your grandchildren depend on it. If I am here doing this, it is because my grandchildren's life depends on it. So get out of your fat homes, get out of your comfort zone, go there, kick the backside of your councillors and your MPs, make it an election issue, only then you're going to solve it. It isn't getting solved. I'm sorry, I'm waking you out of all this. ये सारे nose drops ले लो, vaccines ले लो, inhalers ले लो, कुछ नहीं होने वाला.
Right.
You think America would have fought and the West would have done it? Had it not been, they fought pollution. You cannot remove the smoke till you stop the fire. Get out and stop the fire, for God's sake. It's already too late. And you needed an old man like me to tell you that. Later on, दवाइयां नाक पहुंचते रहो, कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. I mean, in the long run, okay? Acha, everything is going to be good after this session, huh?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Mehta. Thank you. So, summing up, in this session, हम लोगों ने काफी बातें की. Pollution किस तरह से हमें it affects us, it affects our lives in general. Dr. Aditi ने जो बताया कि cognitive development बच्चों के ऊपर भी इसका परिणाम होता है, and I'm sure जिनका oxygen concentration कम है उन adults के ऊपर भी उसका परिणाम बहुत ज्यादा होता है on their brain function and other functions, bodily functions. But more importantly जो ये concluding remarks थे वो बहुत ज्यादा interesting थे, इसलिए मैं उन्हें sum up कर रही हूँ. सबसे पहले we all have agreed कि हमें इंडिविजुअल लेवल से शुरुआत करनी है. Each one for each one. ओके, सो मैं मेरे लिए, फिर मेरी फैमिली के लिए और फिर मेरे समाज के लिए क्या कर सकता हूँ, कर सकती हूँ, इसके बारे में हमें सोचना है और हमें कदम उठाने हैं. दूसरा है कोई भी रेड फ्लैग्स, कफ हो, वीजिंग हो, सिंपल इन्फेक्शन हो, बच्चों में हो, बड़ों में हो, बुजुर्गों में हो, डोंट निग्लेक्ट इट. गो टू द डॉक्टर, टेक द प्रॉपर ट्रीटमेंट, वो ठीक करो और फिर ही आगे जाओ, बिकॉज अगर वो ठीक नहीं हुआ तो वो और कॉम्प्लिकेट होता जाएगा. Then progress and pollution. Dr. Amita, hats off to you. This is such an important statement that progress and pollution go hand in hand, right? So हमें क्या करना है, जब हम प्रोग्रेस कर रहे हैं तब हम पोल्यूशन किस तरह से कंट्रोल कर सके इसके बारे में सोचना है, पर हम इंडिविजुअली कुछ नहीं कर सकते. इसलिए जो डॉक्टर मेहता ने कहा कि होल्ड योर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स रिस्पॉन्सिबल, जाइए, जिनके लिए आप वोट देते हो, जो 5 साल में एक बार आपको मुंह दिखाते हैं, उन्हें जाके पूछिए कि आप हमारे लिए क्या कर रहे हो, हमारे बच्चों के लिए, हमारे ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन के लिए आप क्या कर रहे हो, हमारी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन के लिए क्या कर रहे हो. सो इट हैज बीन सच एन एनलाइटनिंग सेशन. मैं तो बहुत चार्ज्ड अप हूँ. डॉक्टर मेहता, आई एम कमिंग एंड मीटिंग यू एंड लेट्स सी व्हाट वी कैन डू. But more important,
all of us. Yeah.
yes.
I know Bhagwan, so please, you're welcome, and let's. By the way, just to make you feel, just to let you know, I'm in Karjat right now, and the AQI is 8.
Wow, lucky you. No wonder you're so
You're
full of energy. Right.
Aaja.
हाँ, आते हैं definitely. So अभी I will hand over the session to Mr. Mohsin. He is the project associate at Vatavaran Foundation. Mohsin, please take over.
Thank you, Rima. Good evening, all of you. We just concluded a truly enlightening and informative program featuring 4 exceptional doctors who agreed to do this in a very short notice. They generously shared their expertise and insights with us. On behalf of Vatavaran Foundation and all of us, I here today would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all these distinguished medical professionals. First and foremost, let me express my deep appreciation to Dr. Sanju Mehta, whose profound knowledge in lung health has shed light on some of the most intricate aspects of healthcare. Next, we must thank Dr. Amita Athawde, who shared her extensive experience with us Your dedication to patient care and your willingness to impart your wisdom have been truly inspiring. We also are indebted to Dr. Aditi Shah, whose expertise in children health has enlightened us about the care that parents should take. Being a parent, your speech has broadened our horizons. Lastly, but certainly not least, we extend our sincere gratitude to Dr. Sharvari Rathod, who specializes in health issues related to allergies due to air pollution. Your compassionate approach to healthcare and commitment have touched us. Of course, a program of this caliber would not have been possible without the skillful guidance of our moderator, Rima Amrapurkar. Your ability to engage all the panelists is truly praiseworthy, and we are grateful for your contribution. Thank you once again to the doctors and the moderators, and thank you to all the attendees for your presence and participation. We are sorry we could not take questions from from the audience due to short notice of time and shorter period of the event. But in future, we wish to meet again and discuss more important issues. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank you,
everyone.
Mr. Bhagwan. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
thank you so
excellent.
much.
Yeah, excellent responses. Thank you so much, Sharvari ma'am.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Have we
Thank you.
stopped recording? Then we can just informally can speak. Yeah, we can stop.
The recording has stopped.
And have we also stopped the live? I think otherwise, Vataran's discussion will go on live. Rahul, hope all the conversation has. Have we stopped the
Just एक
Max
minute एक minute
Maharashtra?
चेक कर रहा हूँ.
हाँ. Okay.
Give me a moment.
Yeah. So there are few messages we should respond and talk to one by one. If anyone wants to speak now, possibly if he's here and wanted to say something from the group, happy to respond. Yeah. राहुल चेक केलं का?
हो बंद करा बंद करा.
ओके.
ओके.
बंद झालं का सांगा राहुल.